Have you ever tried to focus on something important, but your mind keeps drifting back to one person? You're working, and suddenly their face appears in your mind. You're watching a movie, and something reminds you of them. You're lying in bed at night, and they're the last thought before you close your eyes. And here's the strangest part. Sometimes it's someone you talk to every day, but sometimes it's someone you haven't spoken to in weeks, months, or even years. Yet somehow, they occupy more space in your mind than people who are physically present in your life. You try to push them away. You tell yourself to stop thinking about them. You distract yourself with work, with friends, with anything. But within minutes, maybe even seconds, they're back. Like a song stuck on repeat. Like a presence you can't escape. Why does this happen? What does it mean when someone is constantly in your thoughts? Is it just obsession? Is it love? Is it something deeper, something spiritual that science can't fully explain? Today, I'm going to reveal the hidden truths behind this phenomenon. And I promise you, what you're about to discover will completely change how you understand your own mind, your heart, and the invisible connections that bind human souls together. The psychology of persistent thoughts. Let's start with what science tells us. When someone is constantly in your thoughts, your brain has formed what psychologists call a cognitive loop. This happens when a person becomes associated with strong emotional experiences, triggering the release of neurochemicals like dopamine, oxytocin, or even cortisol. Every time you think of them, your brain lights up in the same areas that control reward, pleasure, attachment, and sometimes pain. Your mind literally gets addicted to thinking about them, not because you're weak, not because you're crazy, but because your brain has been wired through repeated emotional experiences to focus on this person. The more you felt with them, the deeper the neural pathways, the stronger the emotions, whether love, fear, excitement, or hurt, the more your brain returns to them automatically. It's like a groove carved into stone. Water will always flow through that groove because it's the path of least resistance. But here's what most people don't understand. These persistent thoughts are not random. They are your subconscious mind trying to tell you something you haven't acknowledged yet. Unprocessed emotions demanding attention. When someone dominates your thoughts, it almost always means you have unprocessed emotions about them. Something happened between you that your heart experienced, but your mind never fully understood or accepted. Maybe they made you feel something you've never felt before and you don't know how to categorize it. Maybe they hurt you in a way you never healed from. Maybe you loved them, but circumstances forced you apart. Maybe you're with them, but fear losing them every single day. Whatever it is, your emotions are like pressure building inside, and thoughts are how that pressure tries to release itself. Your mind keeps bringing this person up because it's asking you, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to process this? When are we going to deal with this? Until you face those emotions, until you feel them fully and release them, that person will continue to dominate your mental space because your subconscious refuses to let it go until it's resolved. The energy connection theory. Now, let's move beyond psychology into something that science is only beginning to understand. Energy. Everything in the universe is energy. Your thoughts are energy. Your emotions are energy. And when you connect deeply with someone, you create an energetic bond. Have you ever noticed how you can feel someone's presence even when they're not around? How sometimes you think of someone intensely and they text you moments later? How you can sense when something is wrong with someone you love even if they're miles away? This is not magic. This is energetic resonance. When someone is constantly in your thoughts, it could mean your energy field and theirs are still entangled. Even if you're not speaking, even if you're not together, the connection remains active on an energetic level. Many spiritual teachers believe that when you think of someone constantly, you are tuned into their frequency, and often they are tuned into yours as well. Your thoughts are not just inside your head, they radiate outward. And when two people think of each other, their energies meet in the space between, creating an invisible bridge that neither time nor distance can break. They are thinking about you too. Here's something that will give you chills. Ancient wisdom and modern metaphysics both suggest that when you can't stop thinking about someone, there's a high probability they're thinking about you too. Thoughts carry vibration. When someone holds you in their mind with strong emotion, whether it's love, regret, longing, or even anger, that vibration travels. Your subconscious picks it up, and suddenly you find yourself thinking about them without knowing why. This is especially powerful with people you've shared intense experiences with: former lovers, best friends, family members, people who knew you at soul level. The connection doesn't just disappear because you stop talking, it remains active in the quantum field, and both of you feel pulls toward each other through persistent thoughts. So if you've been wondering whether they think of you, pay attention to how often and how intensely they appear in your mind. Chances are, your name is crossing their thoughts just as frequently. The mirror of your inner world. Here's a deep psychological truth that might surprise you. Sometimes when someone is constantly in your thoughts, it's not really about them at all. It's about what they represent to you. Carl Jung taught that every person we encounter is a mirror reflecting parts of ourselves back to us. When someone occupies your mind constantly, ask yourself, what qualities do they have that I wish I had? What emotions do they make me feel that I'm missing in my life? What part of my journey do they symbolize? If you constantly think about someone who made you feel free, maybe you feel trapped in your current life. If you think about someone who gave you peace, maybe your life has become chaotic. If you think about someone who challenged you, maybe you've become too comfortable and you're craving growth. Your mind uses their image as a symbol, a reminder, a compass pointing you toward what your soul truly needs. So instead of just longing for them, decode what they're showing you about yourself. That's where the real transformation happens. Unfinished business and soul contracts. Let me share something profound. Not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. But some people leave such a deep imprint that even their absence feels like presence. And when someone is constantly in your thoughts, it often indicates unfinished business. Maybe the relationship ended before it fully played out. Maybe words were left unspoken. Maybe you never got closure. Maybe you walked away, but your soul didn't agree with that decision. Whatever the case, your subconscious mind doesn't accept incompletion. It will keep circling back to that person until the story feels resolved. From a spiritual perspective, some believe this indicates a soul contract. Before you were born, your soul agreed to meet certain people who would teach you specific lessons. These people shake you, change you, wake you up, and even when they leave, the contract continues energetically until the lesson is fully learned. That's why you can't stop thinking about them, not because you're weak or obsessed, but because your soul knows the chapter isn't finished yet. There's still something to learn, to heal, or to integrate from that connection. The pain of separation. Sometimes the reason is heartbreakingly simple. You think about someone constantly because you miss them, because losing them, whether through breakup, distance, death, or simply growing apart, created a wound that hasn't healed. Your mind keeps returning to them as a form of resistance against loss. It's like your subconscious is saying, if I keep them alive in my thoughts, they're not really gone. Thoughts become a way to hold on when physical presence is no longer possible. This is especially true for people we love deeply. The brain doesn't just forget love. Love creates neural pathways that can last a lifetime. When that person is no longer accessible, your brain doesn't immediately rewire. Instead, it keeps searching for them, keeps replaying memories, keeps imagining scenarios where they return. This is not weakness, this is grief. This is love that has nowhere to go. And your persistent thoughts are simply your heart's way of processing the unbearable reality of separation. You're in love, even if you deny it. Let's be direct about something many people refuse to admit. If someone is constantly in your thoughts, there's a very strong possibility you're in love with them. Or at the very least, you have deep feelings you haven't fully acknowledged. Love isn't always convenient. Sometimes you fall for the wrong person. Sometimes the timing is wrong. Sometimes circumstances make it impossible. So your conscious mind denies it. You tell yourself it's just friendship, just attraction, just curiosity. But your subconscious knows the truth. That's why you can't stop thinking about them, because love demands attention, it demands acknowledgement, and when you try to suppress it or rationalize it away, it only grows stronger in your thoughts. If this resonates with you, maybe it's time to stop running from it, stop denying it. At least be honest with yourself about what you feel. You don't have to act on it, but acknowledging the truth will bring you peace that denial never can. Fear and anxiety loops. Not all persistent thoughts come from love. Sometimes they come from fear. If you're in a relationship and you think about that person constantly, it might be because you're afraid of losing them. Your mind is stuck in an anxiety loop, constantly checking, constantly worrying, constantly imagining worst-case scenarios. Or maybe this person hurt you in the past, and your mind keeps returning to that pain as a form of protection. It's trying to warn you, to keep you alert, to make sure you never let someone hurt you that way again. These thoughts are exhausting. They feel intrusive, but they're not meaningless. They're showing you where you're carrying fear, where you haven't healed, where you need to build trust either in them, in yourself, or in the process of life itself. The addiction of unavailability. Here's something fascinating and frustrating. Sometimes you think about someone constantly precisely because they're unavailable. Psychologically, the human mind is wired to want what it can't have. When someone is distant, unclear, inconsistent, or completely out of reach, your brain becomes obsessed with solving the puzzle. This is called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that makes gambling addictive. The uncertainty, the maybe, the what if, keeps your mind hooked. You're not necessarily thinking about them because they're so amazing. You're thinking about them because your brain is stuck trying to figure them out, trying to win them, trying to make sense of the mixed signals. If this is your situation, understand that these persistent thoughts might be more about your need for closure, certainty, or validation than about the actual person. Breaking this cycle requires conscious effort to redirect your attention and fill your life with things that are actually available and reciprocal. The message from your higher self. Many spiritual traditions teach that persistent thoughts about a person are messages from your higher self. Your soul is trying to guide you toward something important, maybe toward healing, maybe toward action, maybe toward release. When you can't stop thinking about someone, sit quietly and ask yourself, what is my soul trying to tell me through these thoughts? Am I being guided to reach out, to let go, to forgive, to love more openly, to set boundaries, to heal an old wound? Your higher self doesn't torture you with thoughts randomly. It's showing you where your attention needs to go, where growth is waiting, where your next lesson lives. Trust that there's wisdom in the persistence, even when it feels painful. They changed your life trajectory. Some people enter your life and change everything. They shift your perspective. They challenge your beliefs. They inspire you to become someone new. And even after they leave, their impact remains. When someone like this is constantly in your thoughts, it's because they represent a turning point in your story. Your mind returns to them because they symbolize transformation. They showed you a version of yourself you didn't know existed. They opened doors you didn't know were there. These people are rare, and your thoughts honor them for the gift they gave you, even if the relationship itself didn't last. The question is, are you living the transformation they inspired, or are you stuck thinking about them instead of becoming who they helped you see you could be? What you should do about it. So you understand why someone is constantly in your thoughts. But what should you actually do about it? Here's your action plan. First, stop fighting the thoughts. Resistance makes them stronger. Instead, observe them. Notice them without judgment. Let them flow through you without attaching stories to them. Second, journal. Write everything you feel about this person. Why they matter, what emotions they bring up, what you wish you could say. Getting it out of your head and onto paper releases pressure. Third, ask the deeper questions. What is this person showing me about myself? What lesson am I meant to learn? What do I need to heal? What action do I need to take? Fourth, take action if appropriate. If you need closure, seek it. If you need to express feelings, consider doing so. If you need to let go, create a ritual. If you need to reconnect, reach out if it's healthy to do so. Fifth, Redirect your energy. Fill your life with purpose, passion, projects, and people who are present. When your life is full, obsessive thoughts naturally decrease because your mind has other things to focus on. Sixth, practice mindfulness and meditation. Train your mind to return to the present moment. Every time thoughts of this person arise, gently bring your focus back to your breath, your body, your surroundings. Seventh, seek support. Talk to a therapist, a trusted friend, or a spiritual guide. Sometimes we need outside perspective to break thought patterns we're trapped in. Eighth, give it time. Persistent thoughts. Don't disappear overnight. Be patient with yourself. Healing is not linear. Some days will be harder than others. That's okay. The ultimate truth. Here's what it all comes down to. When someone is constantly in your thoughts, it means they touched something deep within you. They awakened something, triggered something, healed something, broke something, changed something. It means the connection was real. The impact was significant. The experience mattered. And your mind is still processing it all because it was too important to just forget. But here's what you need to understand. Those persistent thoughts are not meant to trap you. They're meant to teach you, to guide you, to transform you. The person is not the point. The growth you're being called toward is the point. So honor the thoughts, learn from them, let them show you what you need to see. And then, slowly, gently, let them evolve. Because you are not meant to stay stuck in thoughts of someone forever. You are meant to integrate the lesson and move forward into the life that's waiting for you. Final words. The next time you find yourself thinking about that person again, don't curse yourself. Don't feel weak. Instead, pause and ask, what are you here to teach me today? What part of me needs attention right now? What is my soul trying to say? Because every persistent thought is a message. Every recurring face in your mind is a teacher. And every moment spent understanding why is a moment spent understanding yourself more deeply. So thank them for occupying your thoughts. Thank them for the lessons. Thank them for being part of your journey. And then, when you're ready, thank yourself for being strong enough to feel it all, to process it all, and to grow through it all. Welcome to Psychology Fact. If this resonated with your soul, make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon. Because understanding the mysteries of the mind and heart is the greatest journey you'll ever take. And I'm here to walk that path with you, one truth at a time.